Welcome, tech enthusiasts and educators. You're tuned into the Integrate This EdTech Podcast, the go-to where technology and education converge to help you create engaging, tech-savvy classroom. My name is Jeremy Mikla. I'm a passionate advocate for digital learning. I am the Instructional Technology Specialist for ECMEC, an educational technology cooperative in East Central Minnesota. I'm joined by my brilliant co-host, David Berner, a wizard in educational innovation. David is the Technology Integration Program Coordinator for SWWC, a service cooperative that services Southwest and West Central parts of Minnesota. This is our first and initial episode of the podcast, and we welcome you here to be part of that and experience it along with us. Through these podcasts, we plan to dive into the latest tools, tips, and trends in educational technology. So grab your devices and let's embark on this digital learning journey together. So David, what do we have on tap for today's first episode?
So for today, we're going to take a look at ChatGPT, and more specifically, we're going to look at how we can use the images or the image features in ChatGPT. So for uploading images into ChatGPT, and then also having ChatGPT generate images by using the DALL-E 3 plugin.
Nice. That sounds like some pretty exciting stuff. And we've got some great content here that I think you're really going to be able to take away and find a way to integrate it into your classes and to kind of give that learning a little bit of a kick. Well, once again, I'm Jeremy Mikla here, and I'm going to take the lead in showing you how to use ChatGPT 4's image upload feature and then attach a photo to a prompt that you're going to give ChatGPT to help you describe what's going on in the picture, maybe to identify what's in the picture, maybe even how to fix something that you see in that particular picture. So I'm going to share my screen here with you to ChatGPT, and we're going to do a little search here where we attach with the paperclip that you see in the bottom left of that search bar. Make sure that you are in ChatGPT 4, because if you're accidentally in 3.5, you're not going to have that little paperclip down there, and it's going to be rather hard to attach your image. So I am in ChatGPT 4, and I'm going to click on this paperclip icon that I see there, and I'm going to choose an image that I have that I would like ChatGPT to give me a little bit of historical context for what's going on in this picture. So maybe I'm a social studies teacher, history teacher, or a history student, and I really don't know what's going on. Can you please give me some historical context to this picture that I've attached here? So then I give it the prompt, and here it goes. ChatGPT then tells me, hey, this is a picture of John Lennon and Yoko Ono, and it talks a little bit about this being bed-ins for peace. So you could see that the AI is reading what it sees even on this image, the text that's there, right? And it shows them, and then it gives it a little bit of context about how it's a peaceful protest against the war in Vietnam and draws widespread attention and all those sort of things. So it can really be used to, I think, help students understand kind of the moment, but also the context behind what's taken place. So let's try another one, right? Let's switch to maybe like we're a science class, a biology class of some sort. And we have this plant here that we would like some help identifying what it is that's in this plant. So, I'm going to give it this prompt that I have, asking me to tell me what this is. I found it in the woods near my house. And so again, it takes a look, studies the picture, and it's going to give us its response. And sometimes you have to just be a little patient, but it's going to come up here soon. All right, let's see how it did. The image you provided with the leaves of a distinct color, it is definitely something maybe in the fall that you would find. And this does happen to be poison ivy. It's a picture of poison ivy leaves. Maybe not how we typically think that we see them. We usually see them when they're green, not necessarily with this vibrant red and orange colors to it. But it still does have this familiar to us, leaves of three, let them be kind of things. And so it tells you then, that maybe this is something that you should avoid touching because you just don't know what that is. All right. Another example here. Let's take this next one that I have and ask it some advice to see if it can help us with a cracked iPhone screen. And I want to ask it if it can give me a little bit of advice on whether or not it would be a good idea if I tried to fix this myself. So here, really bad cracked iPhone screen that you could see. Is it something that maybe I should try to do it myself, or maybe I should bring it in and see if I can get someone to repair it for me? So it goes in, it tells me like, hey, if you do this, which you probably can do, maybe you want to think about, does it void any warranty or insurance that you may have on phone? Could you risk further damage and those sort of things? Can you even find the parts that you might need to be able to fix it? And then if you have to buy the kit to be able to fix it, is that even worth it? Or would you have paid that much to someone who already has the kit to be able to fix it for you? So that would be another example here of something that you can upload and ask it to help you decide what you should do. I'm going to share one more here because, again, we're just giving you some ideas of the different ways that you can do that. And this is, I think, a really powerful one here as well. What I have here is a handwritten note that has a message on it in Spanish. It's not even typed, it's handwritten, and I am going to ask it to translate the writing on this paper into English. So let's see how it does. And I don't speak Spanish, so you're going to have to tell me, Spanish people, if it did pretty well or if it missed some of it. But I do know where it came from, and it was from the song by The Cure, Friday I'm in Love. And while it might have missed a word or two, like I don't care if Monday is sad instead of blue, Tuesday's gray and Wednesday too, you could see that it did really, really well recognizing my handwriting in a foreign language and translating that into English. So a couple of these things that I think are pretty powerful. There's definitely some other things that you can do with them as well. For example, you can ask it to identify different images. You can show it a picture of food in your fridge or the pantry and ask it to create some different recipes based upon the items that it sees. You can have it help you identify what is meant in a meme that you come across and you didn't understand the humor. It can probably help you tell you what that is. So those are just a few of those things that I think are kind of fun to be able to share with these different tools and different images that you can upload. So David, what do you think? Some good examples, good ideas. You got any others?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I particularly like the translation piece because it's just the ability to read the words in the image and then translate that. That's one that I think is great for. We have a lot of schools that have a lot of Spanish speaking students, and so those are some good examples for translating those. Yeah, I like the idea of the refrigerator one too. If you take a picture and you can ask it what can you make with those, and
right.
And one other that we have talked about too was the asking it to give you if you upload a picture of a dish that you have and then getting it to tell you how to make that dish. That's one that we've done too, where you can show it a picture of spaghetti or something like that and ask, how do I make this? And then it'll generate the ingredients and the directions, and that's a fun one to play around with too.
Right. Cool. Awesome ideas. I think we gave our listeners a few things that they could try and definitely experiment with on their own. All right. So, hey, do you want to show us some of the things that you're able to do with text to image creation that we find with ChatGPT 4's abilities? And I'm going to give you your screen here if you're ready.
Yeah. So what's fascinating with um, the chat GPT on the other side, with a lot of what you were doing is you're feeding it images that you've already kind of determined, you have an idea of what you'd like the outcome to be, and you can ask it, to base its responses off of those things. um, One of the other things that you can do with it is, because it's OpenAI and because they own ChatGPT, and then also they have Dolly 3 integrated into that, um, which you can see here. There, with the two versions, the 3.5, which a lot of people are on this version. It's the free version. ChatGPT 4 has Dolly built into it, and so this is where you can generate those images from there. So if I was to ask it something like, I need some images of the Four Seasons, we can then see that the plugin, the Dolly 3 plugin, it's starting to create images, and it'll start to load those. And you can see it processing right there. Um, and this is really nice, because what just a week or so ago, you had where you had to switch over to the plugin specifically so that you could ask it to generate those images. Okay, so here's what it produced. You can see that we have some imagery here. We've got spring, summer, fall, winter. And then it actually gives you an explanation. Here's an image that artistically represents the four seasons in one scenic view. Each quadrant of the image depicts a different season. So then you have the explanation there. And what's kind of nice too is, from here, if you're not satisfied with that, you could always ask it for other representations of it. Or just be specific about what you're expecting from this system to generate. So like maybe you want, your spring or summer picture here, but you want a different setting. This one's obviously on a beach. You could ask it for a different setting and those type of things. Additionally, if you're thinking of it from the teaching angle, one that I like to do is centered around world history. I used to teach world history. Jeremy, I know you taught social studies as well. The one example could be, rather than seasons here, I could say, I would like some images that portray ancient Egypt. And then we can go through that same process where it's going to come up with those images. So here, this is where you could play around with it with your students in the classroom, and then you could show, what does the AI come up with? How is it going to portray ancient Egypt? And you could generate conversations with your students off of what it gives us. Or maybe what you do is you have students first, tell you some of the things that they know about ancient Egypt, and then you go through this process together and see what it generates. So obviously the big one there is the pyramids. You see the Great Sphinx there, and then some cultural aspects of that time period. Again, it'll give you an explanation. You could always ask it for more images. And then what's kind of fun too with this is that you can also download these images. So once it produces it, if you click this down arrow here, it's going to download, and then we're able to grab that image. And then obviously with that, you could take it and you could copy and paste it into a presentation that you might have. And that's where you're going to have, the ability to use the image in other areas. So some pretty cool stuff there with the image generation. One thing to point out, I suppose, is they tend to look, because it's Dolly 3 generating these images, they are going to be looking more on the artistic side rather than like a realistic photo. sometimes you may see some that are a little bit more realistic. Some other ones we've done before is asked it for, let's say we wanted, give me 4 images of a maple leaf. You could do something like this and see what it gives us. I'm just going to shift over to the one we did in the past. And what you'll notice is that it gives a variety of different versions of a maple leaf. But what I like about this too is that, like I said, if you're not satisfied with what it produced for you, like these 2 right here, I didn't like that they didn't have a background. So like this, there's a lot more to this. But if you request that, right, I could say, I like the images, but I need a background on all 4. So then it reproduces that and gives me some backgrounds on those. And again, with these 2, it's, you could download these images and then use them as you want. So some different versions of using the DALL-E 3 system within ChatGPT. But there's a lot of things you can do with it. You can explore it for yourself, test it out, and see what kind of images it produces. And it's just a fun thing to play around with. So, Jeremy, I don't know if you had any thoughts on it, but.
Yeah, I think, like one of the way that they've been able to integrate the DALL-E 3 into ChatGPT 4 is, I think, where its power really, really comes from, right? Because you can do some of these same text to image creation in, say, like Canva, or you could use some other programs like Adobe Firefly, maybe even Midjourney if you're wanting to pay for that, to be able to do some of the same things, but to do it right within ChatGPT and be able to kind of keep going with the prompting to get it the way that you want to, like you talked about, or to regenerate some other ones. That's, I think, kind of like at the heart of it, the power of where OpenAI might be a little bit ahead of some of these other types of things that do that text to image. Like I know Google Bard, and one of the things you and I talked about off air here a little bit was, Google Bard, you can do some of the same things as ChatGPT 4 as far as the image uploading and stuff goes too. But it's not as good as, it won't identify images with people in them, for example. So I think, they've got a little bit further to go there too. But yeah, no, I think these were great.
Yeah, and I think it's probably important to point out too that we are using the paid version of ChatGPT. So if you are on 3.5, just be aware that you may not, be able to use that if you're not paying for it. I personally think it's worth paying for, as you mentioned, with being able to do all these things in one spot, makes ChatGPT much more versatile. And also to mention too that the ChatGPT 4 version is going to be directly connected to the live internet and Bing. So
right.
This has a cutoff of I think it's September 21. So some things there, just if you're considering paying for it, ChatGPT doesn't pay us to advertise for them. But,
I wish.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But no, it's just kind of up to what you want to do with it personally. But as you can see, these are some of the things that you can get from the paid version of it. So.
Right. And I bet a lot of our teachers aren't going to have students that are, or schools that pay for students to have their own account, but it might be something that, say, a department might pay for an account and the teacher could use it, in front of the classroom, for example, or do some of their own work with ChatGPT for, before class starts. And like you showed how you could go back into your history and pull up some other prompts and images that you've created in the past to really then not have to waste that time in front of students. So that would be kind of one of the ways that I think they could do pretty well integrating that into it. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Integrate This EdTech Podcast. We hope you're leaving with some great new insights to make your classroom more interactive and engaging. A huge thank you to my partner, David Berner, for sharing his expertise, and to you, our listeners, for joining us on this digital discovery. I am Jeremy Mikla, and until next time, keep integrating and innovating. Here's to making the future of EdTech even brighter, one tech tool at a time. Good luck and happy teaching.